Welcome back to Roots and Roasts. Today we're diving into expert care for caladiums, tropical foliage plants known for their vivid, heart-shaped leaves in shades of red, pink, white, and green. Whether you're growing them indoors or outdoors, success with caladiums depends on understanding their tropical roots, seasonal dormancy, and unique care requirements. Let's get into it. Caladiums are native to Central and South America, primarily Brazil. In the wild, they thrive in warm, humid rainforests under the canopy, growing from tubers that push up large decorative leaves during the rainy season, then retreat into dormancy when the dry season hits. This natural rhythm informs every part of how we care for them in the home or garden. Indoors, caladiums thrive in bright, indirect light, and getting this right is one of the most important factors in keeping your plant healthy, vibrant, and long-lived. Let's break this down in detail. Too much direct sunlight, particularly in the afternoon when rays are harshest, can cause sun scorch. You'll see it as brown, crispy edges, faded splotches, or even translucent burn spots on the leaves. This happens because caladiums evolved under the forest canopy. They're shade-adapted, with delicate tissue that isn't built for intense UV exposure. On the other hand, too little light, such as a dim corner or a window obstructed by shades or trees, will cause problems too. The most common signs are faded leaf color. Reds and pinks lose their richness. Leggy stems, meaning longer petioles stretching toward light, making the plant appear weak or uneven. Slow leaf production or small and new leaves. Best placement is near an east-facing window, which offers gentle morning light, strong enough to support growth, but not intense enough to damage foliage. A few feet away from a west or south-facing window can also work, as long as the light is filtered through a sheer curtain or frosted film to soften the intensity. North-facing windows are often too dim unless paired with a supplemental light source. If natural light is limited, especially in apartments or during winter months, use a full-spectrum LED grow light. Caladiums benefit from 10 to 12 hours of artificial light daily when daylight hours are short. Look for grow lights with a color temperature between 5000 K, 6500 K, which mimics natural daylight, and position it 12 to 18 inches above the plant for balanced coverage. Rotate the plant every week to ensure even light exposure and symmetrical growth. Otherwise, you'll get leaning stems and lopsided foliage. Remember, light drives photosynthesis, which fuels every other process, from root development to leaf pigmentation. If your caladium isn't thriving, check the light first. Watering caladiums is an art of consistency. Too much or too little, and you'll see the results in your leaves fast. Let's break this down with more depth so you know exactly what to do and why it works. Caladiums come from the rainforest floor, where moisture is steady, but drainage is excellent. The soil there holds water long enough to hydrate the roots, but never stays stagnant. That's what we want to recreate indoors. The golden rule: water when the top 1 inch of soil is dry to the touch. This usually means checking every 3 to 5 days, depending on your home's temperature and humidity. Here's a proven method. Insert your finger up to the first knuckle. If the soil feels dry, water thoroughly until you see drainage from the bottom of the pot. If it's even slightly damp, wait a day. Here's something most people overlook: the temperature of the water you use. Caladiums grow from tubers, which are modified underground storage stems. Just like bulbs or rhizomes, they're sensitive to extreme changes. Cold water, especially under 65 degrees Fahrenheit, can cause tuber shock that slows down growth and may even trigger early dormancy. Always use room temperature water, ideally between 68 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. If you wouldn't wash your hands in it, don't pour on your plant. Caladium roots demand oxygen. If you water too frequently or use a pot without drainage holes, water pools at the bottom, pushing oxygen out of the root zone. That leads to anaerobic conditions, a prime breeding ground for Pythium, Phytophthora, and other fungi that cause root rot. Here's the aha detail. In poorly drained soil, oxygen levels can drop below 5% within 24 hours, essentially drowning the root system. This is why even a single overwatering event can have lasting effects on tuber health. During spring and summer, your caladium is actively producing foliage. It's in growth mode. Watering should be consistent and moderate, based on soil moisture and environmental conditions. At this point, reduce watering gradually. By the time leaves die back, the soil should be allowed to dry out completely. No more watering until spring. Think of this like a rest season. The plant doesn't need moisture because it's not photosynthesizing, and overwatering in this phase is a top cause of tuber rot and storage. So remember, caladiums don't follow a calendar. They follow light, temperature, and moisture cues. Your job is to read those signs and match their rhythm. Understanding the why behind watering will give you consistent success year after year. Caladiums thrive in high humidity, ideally 50% or higher. Use a pebble tray, a room humidifier, or group them with other tropical plants to create a microclimate. Avoid dry environments like air-conditioned rooms without humidity control. Temperature should stay between 70 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Avoid cold drafts or placement near AC vents. Anything below 60 degrees Fahrenheit can trigger dormancy or leaf loss. Use a well-draining, nutrient-rich soil mix. Here's a reliable blend: 2 parts peat moss or cocoa coir, 1 part perlite or coarse sand, 1 part compost or worm castings. This mimics the loose, moist rainforest floor caladiums evolved in. Always use a pot with proper drainage. Terracotta or plastic are both acceptable as long as you're monitoring moisture. Feeding your caladium isn't just about pushing growth. It's about timing, balance, and respecting the plant's natural cycle. Let's break it down so you're not just fertilizing, you're fertilizing with intention. Spring through summer is the active growing season for caladiums. This is when the tuber wakes up, pushes new leaves, and builds energy for the year. During this period, the plant has high demand for nitrogen N to support lush, green foliage, phosphorus P for strong root and tuber development, potassium K to regulate water movement and overall vigor. It provides all 3 macronutrients in equal proportion, giving the plant a full spectrum of support during peak production. Apply it every 4 to 6 weeks during active growth. More than that, and you risk nutrient buildup and salt stress, especially in containers. Water-soluble fertilizers give immediate access to nutrients and are easier to control, especially in container-grown caladiums. Dilute to half strength for the first feeding of the season, then increase as needed. If you prefer low maintenance, a slow-release granular fertilizer can also work. Just make sure it's balanced and placed in the soil, not directly on the tuber. If you're gardening organically or growing in food-safe spaces like edible gardens, here are high-performing natural options. Liquid seaweed or kelp extract boosts leaf color, strengthens cells, and improves drought tolerance through natural plant hormones like cytokinins. Fish emulsion and compost tea adds micronutrients and beneficial bacteria to support root health and tuber vitality. Here's where most people go wrong. As daylight shortens and your caladium starts to yellow or drop leaves in late summer or early fall, stop all fertilization. Why? Because the plant is naturally preparing for dormancy. It's shifting energy into the tuber and shutting down active growth. Forcing it to stay active with fertilizer disrupts this process. Here's the kicker. Applying nitrogen late in the season can actually weaken the tuber, making it more susceptible to rot in storage and delaying next year's sprouting. Think of dormancy as the caladium's version of winter hibernation. You don't feed a bear in hibernation, and you don't feed a caladium then either. Caladiums are deciduous, tuberous perennials, meaning they naturally go dormant. Here's what to do when leaves start yellowing and falling in late summer or fall. Gradually stop watering. Let the soil dry out completely. Once foliage dies back, remove it cleanly. Outdoors, caladiums are showstoppers. perfect for brightening up shaded patios, woodland gardens, or container displays. But success outdoors hinges on one critical principle: mimic their native habitat. These are rainforest understory plants. That means warm roots, filtered light, and consistent moisture. Let's break this down. Do not plant caladium tubers until nighttime temperatures consistently stay above 65 degrees Fahrenheit. And more importantly, soil temperatures hit 70 degrees Fahrenheit and rising. Why? Because caladiums grow from tubers, and tubers are essentially living storage organs. They don't just sit there passively. Cold soil tells the tuber, it's not time to grow yet, and even worse, invites pathogens like rhizoctonia and fusarium, which thrive in cool, wet conditions and can rot a tuber in days. Use a soil thermometer. It's one of the most underrated tools in gardening. If you're in a cooler zone and want a head start, pre-sprout the tubers indoors in shallow trays with moist peat moss. Once shoots appear and temps rise, transplant outside. This step alone can save weeks of waiting and dramatically improve your success rate. Wait until soil temps greater than 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Plant in partial shade to filtered sun. Water evenly. Avoid soggy soil. Mulch lightly. Master these variables, and you'll unlock the full show-stopping potential of outdoor caladiums, season after season. Let's cover a few troubleshooting tips. Yellowing leaves, overwatering or approaching dormancy, faded color, not enough light or nutrient deficiency, pests, watch for spider mites and aphids, treat with neem oil or insecticidal soap, limp or mushy stems, likely root rot from poor drainage, repot in fresh soil immediately. For design, caladiums pair well with ferns and hostas in shade gardens or in high-humidity indoor rooms like bathrooms. For gifting, choose varieties like White Queen or Pink Symphony in decorative pots, but include a care card with dormancy instructions. Caladiums are not high maintenance. They just require consistency and climate awareness. Master the rhythm of watering, humidity, and seasonal dormancy, and you'll enjoy their color show year after year. If this guide helped, subscribe, and follow Roots and Rows for more in-depth plant care breakdowns from proven horticultural practice.